Namaskar. Today we'll again here to discuss the NEET Biology chapter class 4 part 4, where we'll discuss in details the female reproductive structures. Now in a male reproductive structure we have already discussed the spermatogenesis process, the male reproductive structure, different glands, their functions, different hormones, hormonal regulations, as well as the male reproductive secondary structures, sperm structures, and different abnormalities present in male reproductive structure. Now we'll discuss the second, the part female reproductive structures. Here is the diagram. Very close look of this diagram. You need to observe very carefully and take a note that what are actually the points and what are actually the functions of different points. This is a overall female reproductive structure, in which here the structure, these two small structures, these are the primary sex organ or primary reproductive organs of females. Primary reproductive organs are those, in case of male they are the testes, the primary reproductive structure. In case of females, the ovary. Ovary is the site of production of female gametes. So why this is the primary reproductive structure where female gametes, that is ovum, is produced, and these are the accessory, that is the secondary reproductive structure. What are the secondary reproductive structures here? This is a fimbriae, this is a funnel-like structure. This is a fimbriae. Infundibulum, it is called infundibulum. Infundibulum has the finger-like projections. Finger-like projections. That the finger-like projections are due to the with many ciliary attachment. That is the many cilia is present here, ciliary body. So that during the ovulation, that is the release of egg from the ovary at the 28 days, at the 14th day of a 28-day cycle. After the release of egg from here, the egg is transferred from here to here, and automatically, and here the eggs are received. After going here, the eggs are received by the infundibulum. Infundibulum is received by the finger-like projections and undulation of the finger-like projection here, so that eggs are automatically entered into the ampulla region. This is the fallopian tubes, and from here, starting from here to here, this is the fallopian tube. There is a pair of fallopian tube here also, and here they have left and right side. This fallopian tube contains several cilia-like structures, so that eggs are going from here to in that direction, not in that direction. So eggs are released from the ovary at the 14th day of a 28-day cycle. This is called ovulation, and after ovulation the eggs enter into the infundibulum by a fimbriae-like structure. That is the fimbriae. Infundibulum contains many finger-like projections with many ciliary attachment. That cilia actually receives for receiving the egg and enter into the fallopian tube. And inside the wall of the fallopian tube, there are also some fimbriae-like structures, so that they move towards this region. This is called ampulla. And the ampulla is a site where actually the reproduction or successful fertilization occurs with egg and ovum, egg and sperm. If successful fertilization occurs at the ampulla region, then isthmus tissue is there. This is the tissue, connective tissue present in the isthmus tissue, and it is present here. In this case, here also the right ovary, and here also the infundibulum. I have not mentioned again in this case, as already mentioned here. Infundibulum, fallopian tube, and egg is transferred here. This region, this cavity is called uterine cavity. This is a uterus. Baby, or if fertilization occurs, fertilized egg is not writing. If fertilization occur here egg, ampulla region, in an ampulla region, if sperm is moving here and you get attached here, that's the fertilization. If successful fertilization occur, then zygote will form, and zygote will transfer here to here, either this wall or this wall. either this wall, they may attach, and this is called implantation. That is, the zygote entered into the successfully entered or successfully get attached with the endometrium. This layer is called endometrium. This is the cervical layer. There is a uterine layer. Uterine layer. This is called endometrium. Uterine layer has three parts. Mind, this is the one. The inner part is called endometrium. Medium part is called myometrium, and the outer part is called perimetrium. So, endometrium is a site where fertilized egg in the form of blastula, actually they entered blastula, and then blastula enter into the endometrium. Endometrium wall is undulated because this is so receptive. That is the receptive, that is this layer is very vital because this layer is very much receptive layer, so that it can fertilized egg can easily be entered here. So after entering here, then zygote is blastula will convert into blastula, and further baby will develop, and total body of the fetus will develop. So this is the endometrium layer. It is a very important question where actually the successful implantation. The implantation is the process where zygote is entered into the uterine cavity, uterine wall. So endometrium is a site where it is attached. However, this is the uterine cavity, and this is the vaginal part. This is the cervical canal. This cervical canal and cervix is a very much sensitive organ for a female, because we know that is India. India is a hub of cervical cancer. A special kind of virus, that is the human papilloma virus, HPV. It is not writing again. HPV. HPV is a virus. HPV is a virus which causes this cancer. However, this is we will discuss this later. That is how the cancer is developed and how the fungus is functioning. The virus is working. However, this is the overall structure, and you have to remember there is the vaginal wall, this is the cervical canal, this is the cervix. Now, if we take a close look of ovary, then what is present actually? This is the ovary. It is an almond-shaped structure. And with here the blood vessels here. The blood and lymph vessels are present and supplied. This layer, it has two major parts, the cortical region and medullary region. And the outer layer is called germinal epithelium layer. But germinal epithelium layer or surface epithelium layer, this layer is, this name is changed here, now the surface epithelium. And just below the surface epithelium, this region is very important. It is called tunica albuginea. It is also present in male reproductive structure. You have hardly remembered. So this is the cortex, and in an ovary, eggs are developed in a sac-like structure. So in this case, I have to mention that the eggs in a female body, when it is developed, eggs or these follicles are present in a female body even during the when they were in a womb. That is, when the baby, a female baby, is present inside his mother womb, or during the pregnancy time, when baby is present in a mother's womb, in a female baby, the ovary already developed during the 7th to 8th week, and that particular ovary should also contain several thousand this kind of follicles. Follicular atresia is another important term, which means that automatically the number is getting reduced after the childbirth, and as and when the child is increased, the baby child, that is the female child, when it is growing, automatically her ovary reduces the number of follicles. So at the age of at the maturity, the puberty age, the number is reduced to 400 to 500 mature folliculi. 400 to 500 possible folliculi. And after each month, in each month one follicle will be increased in size and release an egg. So it is very important how the number is reduced. At the young age, the number of folliculi were very high, and gradually, genetically, the number is automatically reduced. It is called follicular atresia. So that term you have to remember. That is how the brain follicle numbers are reduced from childhood to puberty of a female baby. However, this is a very important steps how a small follicle are developed in a cortical region. Always there is a sharp distinction in the cortex and medulla region. Cortical region contains a follicular developmental phase. Follicles are developed in a cortical region, not in a medulla region. What happens? What are the different stages? There is a step, there is a cyclic way. First one is primordial follicle. Second one is called primary follicle, secondary follicle, tertiary follicle, and Graafian follicle. Graafian follicle is actually a mature follicle. At the day of 14th of a 28th cycle, menstruation cycle, at the day of 14th, the secondary oocyte, not egg. Very important thing is that eggs are not released from the ovary. Secondary oocytes, the ovum are not released. A mature ovum is not released. Rather, secondary oocytes are released. So, at the day of 14, secondary oocytes are released. Secondary oocytes are released from the Graafian follicle. Graafian follicle structure we am discussing later. Now, this is a Graafian follicle and Graafian follicle burst, and this is also called corpus hemorrhagicum. This is called corpus hemorrhagicum. Hemorrhage means bleeding. So it is released outside the ovary. Then outside the ovary, as it is released outside the ovary, it will go, this secondary oocyte will enter into the infundibulum and will come to this direction. So secondary oocyte now is covered with several cellular layers. This corona radiata. So and another different layer are there, we am discussing later. So after release of the egg or ovum, what will happen with the Graafian follicle? Graafian follicle will be developed. Graafian follicle will be converted into a corpus luteum, another gland. This gland is releasing hormone. This is another endocrine gland. This is very vital endocrine gland, the corpus luteum. Corpus luteum will produce progesterone hormone, start produce progesterone hormone until the menstruation occurs. If the egg released and go into the hair and fertilization occurs, if successful fertilization occurs, then this corpus luteum will be increased in size and will produce huge amount of progesterone, so that pregnancy will continue. So up to 3 months of pregnancy, the progesterone hormone will be released by the corpus luteum. It is very important that to continue a successful pregnancy, progesterone hormone is very important. If progesterone hormone will not be there, the pregnancy will not be continued, and that progesterone hormone is supplied by this corpus luteum up to 3 months, and then later it will be supplied by the HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin placenta. It will be supplied by the placenta. However, this is called corpus luteum. It is also known as yellow body. Corpus luteum or yellow body. And after, if successful fertilization will not occur, if sexual reproduction will not occur, then egg will degenerate. Egg will come and degenerate and menstruation occur. That is the menstruation cycle we will discuss later. So if reproduction not occur, successful reproduction not occur, then this gland will be converted into a white small gland and degenerated. This is called corpus albicans. So what are the different structures? From primordial follicle, primary follicle, secondary, tertiary and Graafian follicle. This is the corpus hemorrhagicum, release of egg, then it will convert into corpus luteum, the corpus albicans. So corpus luteum is releasing an hormone, progesterone, very very important term. However, cortex, the secondary oocyte released. This is the overall structure of ovary, and this is very important term. This region is called stroma region. This region is called stroma region, and also medulla region. However, cortex and medulla, there are two major parts. And if we see here, take a look of secondary oocyte, how it is looking like. Secondary oocytes are very important. It has several layers. Secondary oocytes. Secondary from outside to inside. The theca externa. Theca cells are there. The just outer layer is the theca externa and basement layer. This basement membrane is there. This is the theca externa, and just below this is the basement layer. This red colored layer is called basement layer. This is the basement membrane. And the basement membrane just close to the basement membrane. This is the theca interna. In case of theca interna, it is very important that theca interna contains some glands as well as some receptor cells of luteinizing hormone. Very important. Luteinizing hormone getting attached, LH from pituitary by blood vessels, it is coming here and get attached to the theca interna cells. Theca interna cells then stimulated and produce androgen hormones. That androgen hormones will enter into these are the granulosa cells. Enter into the granulosa cells. And from granulosa cells, they will be converted into estrogen. Inside the ovum, inside the Graafian follicle, estrogen hormones are produced in huge amount. What is happened here? Now, so basement membrane is there. The basement membrane, red colored. And just below the basement membrane, it is called this is called granulosa cells. These are the granulosa cells, and these granulosa cells are actually producing the estrogen hormone. Granulosa. These are the granulosa cells. Membrana granulosa. Sometimes it's called membrana granulosa. However, this region also, these are membrana granulosa cells are very important because they are producing estrogen, and that estrogens are coming and forms a fluid-like structure and get here accumulated this region. These regions are devoid of, these regions not contain any granulosa cell, and this region contain large amount of estrogen hormone. So this region, this water-filled region, free region is called antrum. Antrum is called with follicular fluid. This antrum contains the follicular fluid, and follicular fluid contains estrogen. However, and this region is called here the primary oocyte. This is the primary oocyte. This region. This is called zona pellucida. Zona pellucida is here. The two membrane is there. Very carefully. Look very carefully. Two membrane, the red color and a green color. This red color membrane is called zona pellucida, and green color membrane is called oolemma. Oolemma means the plasma membrane of egg. It's called oolemma. This is the plasma membrane of egg, and outside the red is on the zona pellucida, and just outside the zona pellucida, layer of cell is there. It is called corona radiata. This region, this is called corona radiata. This one, this is called corona radiata, and this one called discus proligerus. This stand-like structure is called, this cell layer called discus proligerus or annulus uforus. So this is the overall structure of egg or ovum. Thank you.